The only outcome that I want to do, like on this conversation, on sales conversations, is how can I impact this person in a positive way?
Well, hello and welcome back to the Amanda Kaufman Show. We are continuing with the coaches that don't suck. And I could not do this series without messaging one of my favorite sales coaches of all time, Brady McCarty. Welcome to the show. How you doing?
Good, Amanda. Thanks for having me. And you're one of my favorite coaches of all time, so there's alignment there.
There's huge alignment. Now, okay, so dear listener, Brady would never tell you this, but this guy is savage at sales. Like he's so good at it. Can you remind me what are your current stats on sales that you have personally sold, oversaw? Like, just brag just for a quick minute, and then we'll move off of it.
You know I hate bragging about it,
I
but
know, but they
I
gotta
will.
know. The people need to know.
All right. So personally, I've enrolled close to 70 million, actually a little over 70 million now in the past 5 years, 5 to 6 years, we'll call it. And then clients of mine have enrolled just over 300 billion in the past 2 years that are implementing my process.
That is just so amazing. We'll move off of the bragging. But y'all, the reason why Brady has been such a force in my own sales style is he's really one of the few coaches. I've had a few sales coaches, but he's one of the few ones that I felt just so aligned and at ease with, not only in the sales process that brought me into the program where I got to work with him, but just when he was teaching it, I was like, yes, yes, that way, yes, like that. So he's really not into the high pressure sales. He's really into like having the conversation that needs to be had, but also like really just improving your communication skills overall and being able to literally read the room, like be able to do that in a Zoom call, hear different tonality. It's just amazing. I am so curious, Brady, like why this? You're freaking brilliant at sales. You're so good. But like why continue to focus on it? Why is it such a passion of yours?
Well, first off, thanks for building me up. That made me feel very good. You're amazing at that, so thank you. Why do this?
Yeah, I mean, instead of that, because literally you're a bright man. You could have done almost anything else and you decided to stay in this lane. Why?
What comes up for me on that, and I have been asked this multiple times, and I'm trying to see if a different answer comes up. It's my pause, but the same answer comes up. Is back when I first started, I was absolutely sick, and I'm sure you can probably relate to this, but of all the regurgitated sales training out there, like I've probably spent upwards of 250,000 plus in training to realize that a lot, not all, but a lot was the same strategy, just kind of regurgitated into that influencer spin on things. So what happens in my brain, and it still continues today, is if the majority of sales trainers are teaching the same thing, just kind of a manipulation of their strategies on sales calls, what do you think the consumers are hearing? Basically the same conversation, right? So I
Right.
got fed up. To answer your question, I got fed up. Like enough was enough. I had to create my own process of communication because I was sick of all the regurgitated material out there. And I started investing into stuff like neuroscience and nonverbal communication, which you were in that, so good stuff. CIA level influence, all this stuff. But to answer your question, I was fed up with the same strategy. So I started taking those learnings I was getting from the brain and putting it into my own process on sales calls.
That's really,
So
really cool.
yeah, I
So
could go
I,
on for
I don't
that,
know
but
why I feel compelled to say this, but maybe it's just a regurgitism of the influencer things. Keep thinking about like that phrase, sales is service. Sales is service. What do you think about that phrase? You know, like do you agree with it? You know, I see and the reason why I'm bringing it up, I'll tell you the reason after. I want to hear your take on sales as service.
I think it is sales is service. But I think my take on it is some salespeople take that to heart, where they feel like I have to serve this person to the detriment of my sale or to the detriment of helping them and coaching them to where they should be. and they start thinking the customer's always right. Like the corporate world mentality, the customer's always right. And they're not really serving anymore. They're actually order takers and whatever you want, I got, instead of putting a little bit of fire under their feet and having that balance of like, I feel you, I hear you, I see you. And also, here's what needs to happen. So having that fine balance
I
sometimes
love
was
that.
lacking.
So what I was going to say is the reason this was kind of coming up is exactly that in the coaching space. A lot of coaches, they sell by kind of hoping that a complimentary coaching session is going to be so impressive or so transformative or so deep that why wouldn't somebody open their wallet? And what I've learned as a coach is that there is a certain amount of lead up to the converting conversation where that's your chance, man. Like that's where you show off what you know or how you think things. But there's, in my opinion, a bit of an inflection point around so are we doing this? Right? Like, is this the right thing for you? You might be really impressed with some of the things that I'm doing, or you might love some of the process that I've got or the tools that I've got. But are you, like you person, actually invested in this commitment period that when I then recommend a coaching program to support you alongside, that to me is like where it kind of flips from value to like an offer invitation conversation. And I feel
Yeah.
like that part people get really scared of. Like, what would you say has been the biggest unlock for your clients around the fear of asking for commitment or even finding out that, hey, there's clarity here that this person may be fascinated, they may be interested, but they're not actually committed to this program or this software or this tool or whatever it is that you're selling. How do you
Yep.
help
And
people navigate that?
it's a whole comfort zone situation. Changing the sales reps mentality. And I think something I want to say is the word sales rep has such a bad name to it that a lot of times we're afraid to say we're in sales, right? Like we're afraid to own this is a sales call, or I'm having a sales conversation, or I am a sales rep, right? That's a big mindset shift I have to do for a lot of people, but that wasn't your question. It's okay to be
No,
in
but it's like
sales,
it's
right?
good and it's valid because I think a lot of coaches deny that part of building their business includes sales. I'm like, honey, you selling from the second they meet you, like all the way through
100%.
every coaching session, every time you send a little cute ping on Friday saying, did you do your homework? Like that's actually selling people on the commitment. Like sales happens the whole time. There's a formal sales moment, right, of the transaction. But yeah, it's pervasive. And I think a lot of
It
people are
is.
surprised by that.
It is. And a lot of business owners need to understand that, like, just to reiterate, Amanda, you are in sales. Like, every business owner is in sales, marketing, copywriting, texting, sales calls, having a conversation at the grocery store about what you do for work. Like, everyone is in sales, no matter if you're a sales rep or not, right? That's one thing I had to
Mm-hmm.
get past a lot of clients' mindset. But to answer your question directly, it's a whole comfort zone situation. When someone is on the call with you, and we're talking sales call, when someone's on a call with you guys and gals, what they need is it, and this is kind of rhetorical, and I'll answer it for you guys, but is what they need inside or outside their comfort zone? Most of the time, what they need is outside their comfort zone, which is why they're on the phone with you. Because if it was inside their comfort zone, they wouldn't be on the phone with you because they're comfortable with where they're at, right? So I think that's what's important to understand is you as a coach, as a sales rep, it's your obligation, it's your duty to make them feel felt, but also get them outside their comfort zone and letting them know that what you need is something that you don't have right now. You have to get outside your comfort zone. And this is the feet under the fire I'm talking about.
I love that. I love that. I can't, I've been doing back to back podcast episodes. So full disclosure, dear listener, but for example, I got dear listener from Bridgerton. When I think about like all the crazy, great, amazing shows that you could totally be spending time watching right now, but no, you're in a call with me. You're doing something with me. And I think like learning to have reverence for that fact that like it's not because I'm so great. It's because you've got something going on that me being here with you is like a way better trade-off than watching the latest season of Bridgerton or whatever it is that, fuels your fire. And I think that's really helped me a lot. How do
Yeah.
you how did you at like 70 million? Did you say that right? 70 million.
Yeah. I gotta do the actual number sometime because it might be over that, but it's for sure 70. I don't know the actual
It's
number.
for sure a lot. Yeah, I mean to perform at that level um in sales, what would you say were maybe two or three of the biggest ingredients to your success in doing that?
What comes up for me on that? I think, well, one is my shirt. This is a brand that I created for my company as being different, right? That's probably the biggest thing that comes up for me right now that you asked that is being different on these sales calls. If you think about it, everyone is on the adult buying journey, right? They bought things as an adult. They've been on sales calls as an adult, whether it's a coaching company or buying a TV. Like they've heard it all at this point. And
Mm-hmm.
the second that we are the same that they've always heard, then we get put into this bucket of a salesperson and a used car salesperson scenario, right? Like you're going to
Mm-hmm.
manipulate me into buying something I don't want, yada yada. But the second we be different on that sales call and we actually treat them like a friend, my saying that I've always said, I think I'm going to remind you, Amanda, but treat them like you're having a beer with a friend, right? You're just enjoying a beer with a
Yes.
friend, right? And that whole scenario of being different, like I'm just treating you like we're having a sandwich together, having a beer, it all of a sudden changes the entire cadence of the call where they're like, this is different, like this is new. You have my attention, you have my focus, and getting someone's focus is like 90% of the sale. Because if you don't have their focus, they're not hearing anything you're saying.
I will say, as someone who's like learned from you, trained with you, we've had speaking engagements together, we've done like a lot together. Your ease or your ability or capacity to activate ease in others, I would say is a superpower, and some of the coaches that I've seen do really, really well, they have that same kind of it factor where even if they're so impressive, their resume is nuts. They have this way of making space, for a person that it does feel like you're going for that beer or you're in that relaxed place. And something, I don't know if you agree with this, but something I've trained my team on is like ask the question that'll lose the sale. Whatever that question you're hesitating to ask because you think, man, they're going to be really uncomfortable by that question. They might not like me anymore if I ask that question. I feel like that paired with the beer mentality is so
Yeah.
good, right? Because what do you do if you've got to break hard news to a buddy? You crack a beer and you have the conversation, right? Like you do what you can to make the environment more relaxing.
Yeah, and I'll piggyback on that. A lot of people on sales calls are afraid to ask the questions in fear of looking stupid, right? They're afraid if I ask this question, I'm going to look like an idiot, right? And the second we start having these fears, it tells you and the other person that you're attached to making the sale. So because I'm afraid to asking this question, whatever the question is, it's because I have an outcome I'm expecting that I might be getting in the way of. So if we can release, I guess that's number two on my success, Amanda, is detaching yourself from any outcome of anything. The only outcome that I want to do, like on this conversation, on sales conversations, is how can I impact this person in a positive way? Whatever that is. Yes, I want to make the sale. Yes, I want to enroll them and collect the money and all that, change their lives. But the biggest thing on the call, how it needs to be portrayed in your brain and to the client is I have zero expectations on here. The only thing I want to do is kind of see what's going on in your life. How can I impact you in a positive way? And the sale kind of happens naturally if you start putting in the sequences and the questions and all the things I teach on the psychology side of it. But detaching yourself is massive aside from
You
being
know,
different.
I was just thinking, I was like, "Oh, we need one of those modern wisdom episodes that's like 4 hours long to like really dig in, but we don't have that. If we were to, I've heard that, like detach from the outcome, believe in abundance. Coaches talk about it all the freaking time, and yet they're terrible at coaching. So if we were to take that idea of detachment from outcome in a call and we were to turn that into as transactional of steps as possible, like the actual what do you do to do that though? Like, what would you say if we were to take a wild stab at that? And that's why I'm saying, like, we might need more time for this to really properly unpack it.
I'll
But
share.
I think there's a lot of ideas that are just kind of like, yeah, I know I should do that. How do I do that?
Yeah. The 4-hour episode is to handle your own toxicity. It's like to handle your own shit that you have going on internally, because that helps you release a lot of stuff that you're expecting from people, right? That's a 4-hour episode that we can get into. But the 2-second episode is to think about it. Like, they give you money, it's impacting you for a second, them for a lifetime, right? So them giving you money and buying your thing, if you're in the coaching world, you're going to be cool and happy for a second because you made a commission. But this is a life-changing transformation that you're giving them that's going to change them forever. So just having that quick little mindset really helps me understand, okay, this is more for you than it is for me. Like, how can I help you?
Mm-hmm.
And you have to own that. You can't just say that. You have to own it. Like, how can I change this person's life? That's the 2-second version.
So that's a 2-second version. I know, it's like, you knew you were going to be up for a challenge in a short call with me, but I think one of the things that scares a lot of coaches is not being good enough. Not being good enough to be able to honor that level of transformation and so on. And the way I handled that was I was like, look, here's the math of what my family's lifestyle is. Here's the math of what I think my overhead for my business is going to be. This is just the math. Like, this is what I would need to create in the way of value. And then I kind of backed into it. And I was like, okay, to be that valuable, rather to build a program that is that valuable or that will get purchased that many times in this time frame, what actually has to happen. And that scared me, to TBH, but I would much rather have a target on the wall and maybe not totally be completely sure how I was going to do it and then go after it as hard as I can. And that was literally how I launched this business, have grown this business, have pivoted the business over the last 8 years, is like, here's the target on the wall and I've got to like build towards it. Brady, with you've had a lot of experience working with a lot of different coaches, a lot of different programs. You've worked on different offers. What to you are 3 things that help a coach not to suck? That people will be like, yeah, I want to work with that coach, or, I'm going to stick with that one. What do you see as the 3 things that basically value match the coach to somebody making a transaction?
One, stop. Thanks for asking that. No one's ever asked me that before. That's a really cool question. One, stop being like everyone else. Like, on a coaching call, on a sales call, on your email marketing, on your what, stop being like everyone else. Like, people want different. People have seen the same shit for years, right? Just regurgitated into, again, that influencer spin on things. Like, stop. If you can come in with your authenticity and match that with stuff you're learning from marketing, learning from Amanda, learning from me, learning from different people, but like, you're yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I've always said this, I don't know if we can cuss, but authenticity is sexy AF. I'll just say that. Authenticity is sexy AF. It shines.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Anything else? Any other things to help us not suck?
Yep. And then make people feel felt. Like, if you're in the coaching world, you got into the coaching world because you want to change lives. And I think we start making some money or make that first sale and we start getting a little greedy. I've been there. You get a little greedy and you forget to focus on that person. And that person needs to feel felt in order to have that transformation. So even after they give you money, you're not done. Like, you need to now deliver on that money and make them feel felt, heard, understood, and have this life-changing transformation. And then the third thing I would say is, don't be afraid after someone gives you money or before they give you money to be the coach that they're wanting you to be. they're looking at you to change their life, and we get afraid to ask those hard questions or to give them that hard statement or give them that tough love that no one else is giving them in their life. So be that person.
Exactly.
Authenticity. Yep. Does it make
Yeah.
sense?
It makes so much sense. The role of coach, I think it's really important to understand like you are playing a important role in their social calendar. They already got the bestie that's telling them that they're great. They already got their mom that thinks that they're cool. They need like the coach who's going to actually push them to that next level of their capability. And I often think about the idea of borrowing belief. One of the biggest things a coach can do for their client is believe in their client and their client's capacity, because you have so many examples of when you've been able to help people in similar circumstances achieve those same goals. And just as a customer of coaching, that's been transformative for me, is when I can borrow the belief from somebody else, just do the stuff, do the things, show up in a new way, and oh my God, I did it. And now I
Yeah.
feel that belief. It's so,
Yeah.
so powerful.
To piggyback on that, and I know
Yeah.
we're coming up to the hour, but to piggyback on that, I think it's important to hire, hire, hire. Like as a coach, we get this entrepreneurial curse, and we're like, I got this, I can do this, and you probably can, but you can with help even quicker. Like you don't want to spend 2, 3, 4 years when someone's already figured it out that you can do in 2 minutes. So hire.
That
Don't be
part.
afraid to pay money if you want to receive money from clients, because everything comes back.
Money is a flow. Yeah, no, you're definitely going to spend it, right? But do you want to spend it in this conscious way where you're totally engaged, and same with your clients? Or are you going to just like hope you never have to spend a dollar ever again? I've definitely
Yeah.
fallen afoul of that. That could be another 4-hour episode on money mindset. I think that would be really beneficial.
Yeah, and I'll end it with this. I do have one thing. I'm sorry, Amanda.
Okay,
I
go,
could
go.
talk to you forever though. What? So I heard this. I heard this thing from one of my friends, and he goes, "Brady, people are so quick to spend $1,600 on a new iPhone that just came out, like without blinking twice. They're so quick to do that. But the problem with society is they're not so quick to spend it on things that will improve their life or their health or their whatever. Insert coaching program. It's a
Yeah,
mind like you've got to
1,000%.
change your mindset a little bit.
1,000%. Like I similarly have invested a lot in being able to do what I do at the level that I do it, and I continue to invest in it. Like I just look at it as it's a budget. A lot of people are familiar. We got the holidays coming up. You got a Christmas budget. You plan to buy presents every year. It's the same thing as an entrepreneur. Like if you just every year you're like, cool, what am I going to focus on this year? Amazing. Just accept that there's going to be investment with that, and don't just accept it, like celebrate it, feel really good about it,
Yeah.
because your capacity to earn, to grow, to lead goes up exponentially so much faster when you do that. So
So smart.
love it. Brady, what's the best way for people to follow you?
Follow me on Instagram at what is it? Brady.McCarty on Instagram. And feel free to shoot me a message there. You could say something like, I don't know, Amanda Pod if you want to. And I got a little surprise I can give you guys, a little free sales training I can give you guys. So
My gosh.
Brady.McCarty.
Do not miss that. And we'll make sure that the link is below in the show notes. And dear listener, make sure that you are subscribed to this podcast so you don't miss another episode. Also, go ahead and forward this to 3 of your friends, because Brady dropped some crazy gold and they need to hear it. And, if they're in business, then they are in sales. So they need to hear this episode. And the third big piece is just take 30 seconds and give Brady a 5-star review. I mean, the man worked so hard today, and he's sharing all of this amazing knowledge, and he really deserves it. But more than that, it's going to help other people who need to hear this episode find it and choose it when they're out for their morning run. All right, y'all. We'll see you very soon. Thanks, Brady. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Amanda. See you guys.